Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. And boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. There are a lot of people still upset and trying to figure out how and why Turki Alalshikh was allowed to go over to the judges to see their scores and then go over and to relay that information to Hamza Shiraz and his team so Hamza Shiraz could fight harder to ensure his fight ended up in a draw or he was possibly able to win because Hamza Shiraz was down by 2 rounds. Now, I have the volume muted because they have this rap music playing so loud, so I get a copyright violation. So I'll just play this for you and just watch Turki Alalshikh's fingers, how he's showing number 2. Right here he's saying, you're down by 2 rounds. Look, two, you're down by 2 rounds. Like you have to do something. And watch. He's saying 2 rounds, 2, tell him. He's going to say, tell him. You make sure you tell him he's down by 2 rounds. Now, that's crazy to me. But there are some people saying, hey, you guys are making a big deal about it. That's just like open scoring. So we don't see what the big deal is. If open scoring was allowed, then he would know he was down by 2 rounds. So Turki Alalshikh let them know there's no harm, no foul. But that's not quite the case because according to, I came across an article. Let me see if I can pull it up, man. Where they were saying in the British Boxing Board of Control, you're not allowed to share. Let me see something. See if I can pull this up. Okay, so. Okay, so no, they're not allowed to, okay? So when it comes to every fight card, the 3 judges, they're scoring the fight. So the judges sit on different sides of the ring, and they're not allowed to talk to each other in between rounds, and no one's supposed to know how the fight's being scored. So, right there. Now, I don't know what exactly was going on in Saudi Arabia, how Turki Alalshikh was able to do that, but I'm just telling you, I think that's wrong. Now, if there was open scoring, there'd be no argument. But if I was Carlos Adames, now put it to you this way: how would you feel if you were Carlos Adames and you know the guy who's putting on the event, who made it damn near impossible for you and your team to get in the country on fight night in a fight that you're winning? This same individual comes over to the opponent's corner and is letting them know, hey, you're down by 2 rounds. And even if it was an unofficial scorecards, right? For Turkey, now if somebody else, let's say it was someone from Hamza Shiraz's team that is getting in, because sometimes the guys who are doing the unofficial scoring, they'll come and interview the corner. So, hey, what's going on with Hamza Shiraz? We actually here at ringside got him behind a couple of rounds. What is it you guys are going to do to turn this around? And if they say, hey, the guys, they got your unofficial scorecards, you're down by 2 rounds. I think that's a little easier to accept than knowing what the official judges, how they have it scored. I think that's just crazy. Anyway, how would you feel if you were Carlos Adames and his team? You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. I haven't heard anyone say they thought that Shiraz won that fight. When like the Madrimov and Ortiz fight, I hear majority of people felt Ortiz won, but there are a lot of people who thought Madrimov won. But the thing is, majority thought Ortiz won, but there are still some. Parker and Bacoli, everybody felt like Parker won that fight. And there was another fight where, Berdabiev and Bivol. There are some people who felt that Berdabiev won the fight. Now, majority of people felt Bivol won, but there still are a lot of people who felt Berdabiev won. But I haven't heard anyone say they thought that Shiraz won that fight. And I just think it's outrageous that it was scored a draw. And I just think it's really unfortunate that, Turki Alalshikh went and did what he did. But that being said, I think disclosing judges' scorecards, it's almost like open scoring is not allowed. One's allowed and one's not. You're not supposed to know how the fight scored, and in 1968, the 10-point must system was created by the World Boxing Council. You know what I'm saying? And it was created due to immense inadequacies throughout the boxing nationally and internationally. So to try to create a level playing field. And before this system was introduced, every governing body had their own way to score a fight. Could you imagine that? That before the 10-point must system, every governing body had a way to score the fight. So now you see Turki Alalshikh kind of taking us back to where he wants to make sure how fights are scored is going to be scored the way he wants, and who's going to win the fight is basically going to be who he wants to win the fight, or he's going to give him the best chance possible by letting them know this is how the fight's being scored up to this point. All around, it's bullshit. It's wrong, and that's just how I see it, man. I don't think he should be allowed to get away with that. But it's his event. But I will say that, you know, when you start talking about the 10-point must system, it's helped tremendously. But there's still some flaws, you know what I'm saying? Scoring, you know, judging, people being influenced. I mean, it's not a flawless system. But nonetheless, it's what we have. So it's still not cool when you take a flawed system and then you have a guy further flawed by taking the scores the judges have and going relaying it to the fighter who's actively in the ring trying to win. And he happens to be behind. Anyway, y'all keep cool, man. I think it's crazy, but, you know, maybe there's some changes that need to be made. But this ain't the way to go about doing it, you know. Anyway, keep cool. I think Turki Alalshikh has kind of poked his own self in the eyeball. And there are some people who are just going to look at this and say, you know what? We knew there was bullshit and corruption in boxing, but this just shows you that even with Turki Alalshikh, who's trying to clean up the sport, he's no better than anyone else out here who's been doing dirt in the breeze.